Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo. It's Monday, and so you already know that I am here for Retro Monday OVAdrive, and we are locked in for Le Portrait de Petit Cossette, Episode 3. The first two installments of this odd, fascinating, deeply artistic, strange, weird. How many other synonyms for weird and strange and odd can I find? Almost Edgar Allan Poe-y gothic horror in a modern context, with all of the Japanese trappings and these deep sort of Victorian antique themes, all directed by our boy Akiyuki Shinbo and turned into a very interesting piece of mindfuckery. Soundtrack by Yuki Kajiura. In our last episode, we found out a lot more about the real history of the real girl Cossette. And we overcame in a climactic sort of internal world magical girl battle against the spirit, but also a battle against a grandfather o'clock sequence. We overcame some piece of the antique's hatred. And we did so in part by understanding a little bit, even if we can't comprehend the full leap, who Marcello, the painter, lover, and killer of the girl Cossette, really was. Though I'm still deeply confused about everything, and that's okay. That's where we're at. We're in weird liminal dream interpreted space of art for art's sake, maybe, but also for the sake of telling a really interesting and strange story that leaves lots of open places to put in your own interpretations and threads that aren't entirely tied. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we will coherently tie our threads here in episode 3. Or maybe things will come to a conclusion while remaining open. After all, Cossette's life ended many years ago, and that's sort of a conclusion, and yet it carries on through the power of strange spirit manifestations, and then again through the power of story into each of us. This obsession over beauty that is at core of our characters in Cossette and of our fascination with the show that presents it to us. Does that make any kind of sense? I don't fucking know if it does. I did some scribbling earlier. I drew gears and mechanisms all inside a bigger gear inside mechanisms. I doubt that that'll come into play because it's what the previous episode was about with the clock and stuff. But as I've been thinking about the episode, I'm struck by some images in the backs of my eyelids, images from shows like Princess Tutu of fate and the nature of stories being kind of represented as this ticking mechanism. In Princess Tutu, we've got Drosselmeyer, this grand character who's also dead and gone, but lives on through the power of stories and is perhaps the storyteller, perhaps the god of that world, and appears often in clock spaces, ethereal, weird places where things are ticking and moving and clicking, and giving this grand impression of inevitability and of things already being planned out. There's something about that resonates strongly here in Cossette, as our character Eri walks down these paths that are curious and unknown, yet seem very much already at least walked a few times before. If not grooved deep into the earth, at least like sleds going down a mountain, they're well-worn enough that he falls into their channel. This path that Marcello has walked of beauty obsession, craving need to hold on, and then getting wrapped up into this thing, and then killing, repeats itself in some way. Or at least he's pulled into it and forced to be a part of the repetition of it. At least in order to play it out for the salvation of Cossette and the sublimation of the pain that's been caused. But that's an aspect too, is that psychologically this is about a bond, a tenuous one, between a boy who is in love and a girl he can't really reach. And he can't really reach her because she's broken. She's literally dead in the story. But if we blur our eyes and feel figurative about it, we could say that she's wrapped up in this trauma that's been caused to her before by a previous lover, and so is unable to really, interrelate with Ari on a normal level until we play out the sort of deep wounds that she experienced, and he plays Scarecrow to them a little bit, plays the part of the villain, and plays them out in a way that releases the tension, that creates something of a catharsis. Our story's obviously supernatural, but it helps me to pull these mundane interpretations and analogies, because then it applies to reality. It applies to the real relationships in my life and the real relationships that I see around me. It's oh, there's something true about people bringing the damage, the pain caused by previous relationships into their next one and needing to play it out in some sense. Going all the way back to the earliest wounds that they've experienced, the earliest damages that they've experienced in their relation to parent, in their relation to primary caregiver. And how strange it is to me that this piece of art follows out what seems to be a really good perspective on how to unpack something like that, on how to engage with it, and on the flip side, on Ari's side, as we've talked about, how to expand oneself to include potential for danger, potential for actions that one's moral compass would disagree with. To expand oneself and not take that personally when others put those things onto us, first of all, but then expand ourselves to the point where we realize that we could be capable of things like that and understand how our own predilections, our own obsessions might lead us in strange pathways, and then see how we are actually hurting the people through those predilections in our real life, and how we can help them navigate the pain that they see that might not even be there anymore, so that they can put it to bed. So we're going and doing psychotherapy across time and space via Italian glass is what we're doing. And it's influencing both the spirit of the dead girl Cossette, who appears to us as though she still exists very much, the anger that has been infused into objects that exists in the world as though sin stays, as though karmic injustice resonates and stays in places, which is very animist, very Shinto maybe, this idea of things that are done and feelings become other things, and then they influence, it leaks back out. It's it goes somewhere and then it stays there and then it leaks into the people around it and affects things. It has to be dealt with. And that story being so Shinto animist is part of the reason I think that it's the foundation of a lot of stories like Monogatari, stories like a lot of the magical girl shows, and stories like Natsume Yujincho with spirits, and stories like Jujutsu Kaisen with thoughts being codified and turned into spirits, emerging out into the world as these things that stay around, that begin to have a mind of their own. That's very much sort of what we have here, is through a very artistic lens, actions have consequences, right? And those consequences, in a poetic way, and in a Poe-ish way, resonate onward and are played out again and again through history. All of which I think is kind of truthy, maybe not true in a oh, that's an exact representation of reality sort of sense, but there's truthiness to it. There's something that while I'm watching it, I'm feeling this is telling me something. And so there's one last thing that I really want to talk about here at the beginning, And that's a phrase that people in the comments, on the Discord, and in like blurbs and reviews that I've read of this piece of work have used. Art for art's sake. And it seems like an easy moniker to apply to a show like this. Like, it's artistic. It's maybe even pretentious with the nature of its artisticness. It's very auteur-y. It's very much showing a style and a strange worldview. But when people say art for art's sake, that feels diminishing to me. It's like, well, there's art that has all these other purposes, and then there's art for art's sake, and it's kind of just, you know, it's art for art's sake. And those art people, they're going to like it, and maybe I'm one of those, right? Maybe I've been called pretentious, and surely I fit the mold to some degree. And I talk a lot about art with other purposes, like, here's this shonen anime, and a lot of people are going to disparage it on the other front. They're going to disparage it as not artistic at all. It's trying to be monetarily functional, right? It's trying to just sell a bunch of copies. And my flip side is like, well, it wouldn't sell copies if it didn't resonate with people, if people didn't care about it. So there's something about that. And then often these stories are like conveying something that we're craving, like we need these ideas. This is giving me ideas that I desperately need too. But maybe not ideas that are as broadly applicable or accessible or fun. But is it art for art's sake? And is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know on either front. I just bring it up because I've seen the phrase applied a bunch. And there's something about the phrase that makes me stop a little bit and go, really? Like, what does that even mean? What does that really mean? Art for art's sake. Just for the sake of making it? And then, once we decide on what the fuck that means, if we ever can, does it apply here? Is this art for art's sake? Or is this an artistic work that has lots of things going on in it? Or maybe both. I don't fucking know. But I wanted to hone in on the turn of phrase because it seems bad and dumb. It seems bad and dumb and like we should stop using it. That is probably the hill that I want to stand on, is that I don't know what the fuck you mean when you say this is art for art's sake. It feels like you're trying to say something without saying something, and I'd rather that we say this is artistic but otherwise empty. That's what I often hear when people say this is artsy for art's sake or something like that. Artistic, beautiful, interesting in what it's going on, but I don't think there's anything to it, right? And I've certainly seen shows like that are like, okay, this is very avant-garde, and I have no idea if there's anything that could be pulled from it. But even then, it's often really easy to be like, well, no, there's some need to tell story. So what's the sake of it? What's art's sake in the first place? Yeah, I don't fucking know. Do I do my drawings for art's sake? Are they art for art's sake? I don't think so. They are for the sake of getting me to draw, though. They're art for the artist's sake. I don't know. We're lost in the weeds. We're lost in semantic stuff, and I don't want to get too bogged down. But like, what the fuck does that mean, and does it apply here? Aries not doing so hot. To return to form, Aries not doing so hot. The internal battle in dream space has very much burst out. His heart is sort of crystallizing out of his chest, and it looks like he's gonna die. There's a real girl in the real world who is really interested and concerned about him, although she has a strange way of showing it. And she's stumbled upon this. Upon him, I think in a pool of blood. Although maybe we just pulled out from that. I don't remember exactly. There's a fortune teller who's sure that something is strange. A girl who's got vibes, who's aware that something is strange. And a monk who was unable to do anything last time, but is very much aware that shit's weird. Altogether, I have no idea how we conclude this. If we can. But I'm really excited to dive back into this strange world of warped sounds and scintillating glass colors and dark interiors and strange open spaces inside the mind with weird cape dress wearing ancient tiny girls with candelabras that glow. What the fuck? I love it. I love it. I love this shit. Maybe that makes me pretentious. Maybe I am. I don't give a fuck. I like this. If it's art for art's sake, then I need more of it. And if it is just what it is, then I need more of it still. We'll probably watch something totally different next. But I want more things like this that are weird and fun and interesting and boggle my brains around a little bit. It makes me happy. I hope it makes you happy too. I'm really happy you've joined me for this episode and stuck with me through the blathering. Let's go ahead and dive into episode 3 of Le Portrait de Petit Cossette. I've got the cry version once again up and ready to go. It's 0 seconds. There'll be 2 versions of this reaction video. Picture-in-picture version with the video up there will be available in the description down there, and the timer-based version that you're currently watching will be up on YouTube. PiP Timer will be here to count you down, and there will be early access on the Patreon. Thank you so much to the patrons who joined. A lot of people are really excited that Retro Monday OVAdrive is back, and I am too, and I just really want to be more consistent about it, so let's get to it. PiP Timer. Totally different color. Bright, saturated. Bound up in strings. Oh, it's the glass. Sort of blade noises. This is cool as fuck. Head tilt, head tilt. Tilt further. Oh, when you see Tokyo Tower, you can't see Tokyo Tower. Oh. Is she regretting what she's done to 80? Okay, she did see. Blink, blink, blink. Through a glass. Mm-hmm. We're so distant and disconnected. Are we inside? Whoa. Locked away. Nightmare of my sin. I wonder if she is talking about 80 or if she's blaming herself for Marcello. The eyes around his room. The day we spoke from our hearts will never return. So she thinks it's broken, perhaps? Haunting. But, like, in a beautiful way. Almost uplifting and intriguing. Whoa. But he is definitely fading and dying. The obsession. The chains have encroached deeper. Oh. She's leaving to protect him. But he's not gonna feel it that way. That's so gothic. What is this? The strands are so monogatari. Yeah. Fuck. Like a broken image. Yeah. Now we're in film grain. What a cool use of medium. Whoa. Whoa. Damn. What is she hearing? Oh my god. He's overcome. But she fell for him. She began to care. A genuine desire for him to be himself. Because previously she was just using him as a tool. You're a useful projection. But now she has a genuine desire to, like, protect him. What the fuck? What was that? The fuck was that? All these wrong dolls. Fucking Kajiura. Which antique is this? Is this the doll? So he's going back and still doing the fights. Whoa. Vroom. Solitude. Imprisoned herself in her hell of solitude. This is what he's going to see through. Crossed wires in front of a skull moon is wild. It is wild. As you pull your heart out and offer it. So she pulls away, he offers his heart. And it becomes the eye. Whoa! Oh, it burns. Is that all that's left of Aerie? A flaming eye? What the fuck? Oh, this might be where Cossette is. This is an absolute trip. I'm so reminded of Senjogahara falling. Though this is very different. Oh, hi. What are we looking through? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Fiend. So we just stay in weird other space forever? It feels like we're inside the glass. Hmm. What is this? Whoa. Oh, we're Evangelion now. Okay. Okay. A place where the living and the dead. He's fucking gone. He's fucking gone. He's gone. He's just fucking gone. He floated up into the sky and got embraced by lightning and disappeared. Fuck. I wonder if she'll go after him. Sweet Descent's very Madoka. Hmm. Is she speaking to Marcello? That's what it feels like. I can no longer see you. Oh. It's a little unnerving. Oh, there's a heart beating in the center of this. We found him? The glass. Fuck. Whoa. The girl? Her brain is gone? Choco. She's gone after them. She's gone after him, hasn't she? Because he's her present. Whoa. She's gone, whoa. Well, hell. Something's coming in. It shouldn't break. A world that we made. What? Okay, atop Tokyo Tower in a different sense. She's in the glass. Indeed. How did it get here? Perfect lighting. Who is this version? Who is this version? It's never right, huh? You can never achieve perfection. Hmm. So why does he feel so unsatisfied? Whoosh, and the fire dies. Pattern. Whoa. So why does he walk away? It's her? Whoa. A copy. Whoa, so he's making copies of a copy and it doesn't feel right to him. So all of this shatters. So is Cossette gone? Has she been gone the whole time? Or did we know Cossette for real the first 2 episodes and now we don't? Perfect, Kajira. She did, but not out of cruelty. And the painting believes. Of course, the painting has its own spirit. Love the art, not the subject. Whoa. Beautiful. Chosen by beauty. Art's sake. She's art's sake. No, she's real. In the castle, huh? Okay, so we go save the real out from under the fake. It's so weird to have this gel with Nisei Monogatari in my mind and be like, yeah, but the fake is as real as the real. In fact, the fake has to try harder. Fuck. Shit. Fuck. I thought it was Shoko pretending to be Cossette inside his mind in order to be loved. This is much cooler. I still want that to play out, though. Fuck. Alright, we're gonna do this as a battle. Against her. The work of art itself, the most beautiful thing. The cliff called beauty! Endless. That is not what I wish to paint. Has nothing to do with what is or isn't. It's a choice. He wants reality. Like Rohan eating a spider, you know? Someone else's idea, yeah. More paintings of her. Oh. Yeah. The battle. With his own blood. No, he's bringing her to life. He's bringing her to life. That's what he's doing. He's reaching, they're all behind walls, so he's not looking at the pictures. He's reaching into the memory. He's reaching for truth. Whoa. Not a copy. He's reaching to paint a truth. And he's doing it out of his heart's blood. What the fuck? That's really good. Art elevates humanity. Art leads to happiness. Ah. I will not accept that man's art. What a beautiful thing. He's burning all the rest? He's burning away the entirety of Marcella's representation of her. The whole time he's been sketching from sketches. He hasn't reached out for Cossette. No, you're the painting. And so he paints a real portrait. And then fucking dies because of blood loss? What a scene. Oh shit. Hi, Shoko. Yeah. Yeah. The butterflies Larida's freedom. So Marcello locked her in place and froze her forever as that, as his own image of beauty. That's the true tragedy, the true travesty here, we say. Oh, and the beeps get booped. And the painting fucking disappears. Okie dokie. Bye, painting. God, what the fuck? He's not coming back, right? Oh, maybe he will. He'll just be there. Oh, is this the hill from the opening? Maybe not. Through the glass again. Scarred, but he's going on. Much warmer. Oh, and we've replaced the painting. So in this other space, she gets to be remembered as he wants to remember her. Not as her fucking murderer did. So it's not saving her, it's saving the idea of her. I'm gonna let it play out. Oh, there's more. Just that? Just a little moment of him gazing at her. Oh. Really interesting percussion. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, fuck. That was unnerving. That was beautiful. We'll call it right there. Oh. what a what a beautiful and haunting little moment here at the end. With these eyes opening on the ones to be so smooth and so real, as though she wakens at the end of this journey. What a journey it's been. Let's start by just saying Yuki Kajiura is here. Is here! And contributes so much to the sound of this episode. All of them, for sure, but I really felt it in this one. And then, can we say that just here, I was thinking, what a wealth... Oh, what a wealth of incredibly potent imagery. Like the subtle smile on his face at the end, when we can see the torn up part of his chest at the same time, as he's accomplished what he needed to, is like, what an interesting vision of what a person moving into the future looks like. What an interesting depiction of the me character, the I identify with this character sort of character. I've thought about this about Araragi a lot, is that we've got this character who embodies so many aspects outwardly that are relatable, and then on a deeper level you dive a little bit deeper and you go, yeah, he's half monster, and he's damaged and wounded and needs to go on and is bound to something bigger than himself. And here a lot of that imagery is there, but there are differences to it too, and I think that the book of imagery that's here in the Petit Cossette is fantastic. The torn up chest, the blood as painting, the paintings as prisons and imprisoned paintings, objects as chains, glass, windows, walls, butterflies. Fuck, butterflies front and back, top and bottom of the episode. Shoko's growth into compassion, like what a wild thing. Or the moments that we just accent by cutting away to somewhere else and waiting, and then cutting somewhere else. Like we cut to these landscapes, or we cut to that hillside, or we cut all over the place to create vibe and feel. Tokyo is pretty, isn't it? But Cossette begins to blame herself for the harm that she's caused to Eri, which is like in our analogous world, like that's the right kind of growth, is like, oh, this person that I've been projecting my past traumas on is a full person, and I want to see who they really are, and I don't want to hold them back by acting like they're somebody else, right? By acting like the relation that I have to have with them has to be the same as the relation that I've had in the past, even if it's a different person. But her response to it is the wrong response. It's to pull away, to withdraw herself and her love out of love. A classic tragic story, though, is like, I hurt you by my presence near you, so I have to remove myself. But the classic retort to that story is, no, let me choose. Don't choose for me. People hate having their agency taken away by something like that. And it sucks balls if it's in a relationship for somebody to say, like, I'm choosing this on your behalf. Like, I know that me being around you is bad for you, so I'm going to leave. That feels really shitty to me. It's like, at least give me the option to choose. I wonder whose voice this is. I'm not sure. I think it might be the monk. But she begins to fall into the glass, huh? And it's as though it's because of her obsession with Eri, yeah? And we get it in this first moment when she talks about this desire to share beautiful things with him. It's a different kind of call to beauty, yeah? Than the one that compels Eri and compelled Marcello before him. You must like him, yeah, but more than that. So, she locks herself away. That's my read, is that she has locked herself away. We've got these twin angels holding hands, holding their weapons to cross over her. Bathed in sighs of ice and tormented by the endless nightmare of my sin. Eyes, eyes, eyes. And the day that we spoke from our hearts will never return. So the real Cossette has given up on relating to Eri because she hurts him. Because he's willing to help her, and that's sacrifice. That was what she wanted in the first place, but now she can't go through with it. And this opens the door for his need, his craving, to be overtaken by something else. As long as I can see this through, the obsession continues, and chains continue to rattle and exist in space, and they feel like they've encroached further, like everything is more tied up in the story. Goodbye, and I'm sorry. I love the look of this totally monochrome black with the yellow, and there's a scene later that's monochrome yellow, or sorry, monochrome red with the yellow cut in of like the light around Cossette's head. Fuck, there are so many just drop dead beautiful frames. So he finds the shattered glass and he loses it. And he kisses this. This might be my favorite moment in all. It might be my favorite moment in all 3 episodes. Is we blur mediums. We've had no indication of film grain or like knowledge inside story that this is a film. But she becomes holographic and flickers and aliases. And then and we're in full film grain. This is memory. It's not real. It's projection. Literally a projection through a projector, right? Which is, let's be silly about it, which is light through glass. Light through colored glass, right? Creating images that don't exist. Images that are ephemeral and fade away. So from there, these are movie posters, right? Movies to movies. Cossette. He's breaking things, shattering, destroying. Maybe in her room, so he rushes out into the night. You are not Marcello. I don't want to let you die. I don't want to rob you of your future. So he's running against these grates. And I think this is good. This is good. I didn't even realize it until now. There are all these images of him running across through this barrier, walled off. And it's that barrier that we're trying to transcend the whole time until we realize that the girl on the other side of the barrier is, for the most part, the portrait and not the real person. And that makes me want to say that we finally really fulfill the promise of the title. Because there's something about the portrait of Dorian Gray that is very much about the mistaking of the piece of art for the person. The word that I had thought of before was conflating. Conflating one thing with another. This thing is that thing, but they're not. This is a portrait, and that's the person. But in the portrait of Dorian Gray, they become one and the same. Like the portrait ages and the man doesn't, in a way. They flipped. Here we're chasing the reality, the beauty, yes, but we're restricted in our definition of what beauty is by a man and his eye and his way of seeing. And so we never met Cossette. She's a dead girl from hundreds of years ago. We met a portrait and became obsessed with what it was trying to convey. Yeah? And with, in some ways, the flaw behind it. Because here this man, Marcello, goes, this is what beauty is. But he himself was incorrect about that. He was infatuated with Cossette and had to kind of kill her to prevent the conflation. So how can we let our vision be restricted by what he saw? And then the same goes for every time you look at a piece of art or a representation of any kind. Is this the thing itself, or is this the representation of the thing? The art was for another's sake until Marcello killed Cossette. And then the art became for art's sake. And this is like airy journeys to rediscover the sake of it. Because he's there, he's copying the art, art for art, art for art, art for art. And then he meets the embodiment of art for art. And she goes, love me instead. The real thing is worse. It's less real. I'm the real because I've been decided. And he says no. And in doing so, he sort of speaks to something that's in all of us who are interested in art. It's like, no, the point is the striving. The point is the attempt to represent something else. The point is the creation. The point is multifaceted. But it's not just to be the best, most perfect version of a thing, so much so that it can replace the thing. That's not it. That's not it. No matter how perfect this portrait, it's a portrait. And so mine will be too, but that's okay because I won't conflate it with reality. That's where we get to, is like, he attaches again to Cossette through the portrait, but then can return a little bit. Like, at least Shoko says it. We don't get to see it, but Shoko says he'll return because he wants to keep drawing. Okay. Because he's been able to attach to this thing and make his own vision of it and not be stuck in someone else's, and then live on in his life. It also means he's freed of the obsession in this chain of being. Is like, oh, you're going to have to become obsessed with this beauty, and then you're going to fall apart and die for it. And it's like, wait, I don't have to. I can tear it out of me, paint it on the page, and then go do it again. So he rips his heart out to prove himself to the cursed spirit that's in the doll, right? And shatters his own heart. Says, if I am Marcello, then, like, fine. If not, then take me to her. And it doesn't know better. It's just attached to the energy, and there's so much energy in the painting that it attaches to the painting's world instead. Which, in the same sort of Jujutsu Kaisen way, we've put our mind energy into it, is as strong, if not stronger, than the real thing. Because the portrait has lived on, and the girl has not. But the idea of the girl through the portrait does anyway, right? It can't help it. Even the fake thing maintains the real. And then in the room of paintings, inside his atelier, he pours his own blood onto the palette and paints with it. Paints this beautiful, warm drawing that comes literally from the heart. Literally from his warm vision of her. That's what Shoko calls it. And that doesn't, except maybe for the ending moment, doesn't reawaken Cossette into glass around him. It doesn't do anything except put the painted version away. So that now this vision stands. His vision takes over. So you can rewrite what someone has caged in, and you can free an idea from what it's been forced into being. So a medium doesn't have to remain what it was. A subject doesn't have to remain what it was. It can be reimagined and re-seen. That is powerful. That's powerful on like a daily interaction with everything kind of level. Like everything is what it seems to be. Maybe not. And it's that ability to think that things are maybe a little different than they are or could be that I think underlines a lot of genius. Is that ability to like, oh, this is a pen. I know exactly what this is for. But it's also 200 other things, and I can think of all those too. That's a part of it. Okay. So we make it here. The doll attacks him, whomped into the thing, thrown into the sky, dolls everywhere, eyes like galore. You cannot reap the soul of Marcello. I am not Marcello. Take me to Cossette, who imprisoned herself in a hell of solitude. That's what I'm seeking. Give me Cossette's love, and he rips his own heart out. A hell of an image. Really wild. The skull moon, cross, and yeah, just insane. And then gifting the heart. His face becomes his own, and he shatters it. Fucking flaming eye. Just the most wild bullshit. And then here we are, in the strangest dream sequence, with a full sung insert song, and ethereal veils of cloth, and the strangest nude falling through oceans, drifting, to find each other, to meet each other, and to meet here, in this space. We start cutting to this other Cossette. I think this does such a wonderful job of creating something unsettling, even in a place where we know things are going to be unsettling. We know we're going to go to ethereal other weird world forest, and we're going to walk around, and it's going to be strange as fuck, and giant statues are going to grow out of the ground, and lanterns and candles are going to whoosh everywhere, and it's going to be fucking strange. But somehow, this vision of another Cossette on a bed of black flowers, as though she's a corpse, just cutting there and cutting back, underlines the unsettling and is like, there's something wrong here. Who's that? I think it's cool as fuck. So we're out looking for him, and he's nowhere to be seen. Why do you try to make me say that you are here when I can no longer see you? This is the portrait speaking to Marcello. Even within me and within this stone, I am alone. Huh. And she doesn't respond to the pain of the wax because she's not real. And she has one desire, of course. I love the light in the hospital. I just gotta mention, I love the lighting in the hospital. It's crazy. It's so alienating and modern. Strange. She wants one thing. Why does it break, by the way? I don't know. And what does this mean? Please impart to everyone his own death. To him, a death born of that life which hid love, meaning, and suffering within itself. We cannot become one. And then the becoming one part is repeated a number of times in an almost Evangelion-ish way. What would a portrait want except to be painted again? To be cherished and worshipped and loved, but in a broken... Whoa! I didn't notice that. We cut through and the bar is the bar. That's so sick. Our shapes become other shapes. I wonder how much of that there is in the episode. It's probably all over the place. Shinbo's ability to cut from one thing to another thing and create meaning by doing so is truly fascinating. And the painting has just appeared, infesting our space. And she waits. It's like, what is going on here? Well, it's wrong. what's wrong. And he realizes, I love you, but not you. And the idea, the dream shatters, gone, poof. These moments he looks, and she's the portrait. And she kind of wants to be real. Or at least to eliminate that which would be more real than her. I am perfect. And that woman would be happier too. I wonder what she means there. I think she means Shoko. I think so. So just love the painting. And here's that moment of all monochromatic red with the little shot of light. Fuck, man. Wallpaper me. Yeah? Why are you obsessed over this girl? She has no right to be loved. It is the fate of one chosen by beauty to serve beauty and die for beauty. I loved this. She should have rejoiced at being chosen as the model for me, the work of art. Because the thing that matters is the work of art. This is really close to a perspective that I actually have. And it's very powerful to have that because it helps me like weed out ideas that are foolish or maybe that I don't fully agree with. Reality is transient. Art in some ways isn't. And there's something to me that rings true about that there's something truer about the painting than about the event that inspired it. But we must never forget that the relationship goes both ways. That the art is a depiction of the model. That reality matters too. And that it's the beauty of the reality that inspired the art in the first place. She should have rejoiced and then died on her own without having to involve Marcello, prevent his hands from being dirtied. But she cursed him, and that makes her not beautiful. Where is she? So he goes through the chains. He runs through many, many walls of chains, and finds his way to Cossette, and it all breaks down. She says, "You cannot overcome me, the cliff called beauty, for I am the true Cossette. The moment I was born, she became a fake, lesser. Beauty is the world's only truth." And he speaks from personal, instead of arguing with these grand ideas. And I think that's the right way to answer it, because it's like beauty overall. And you get into this with the aesthetic philosophers. It's like you come to some conclusions that are not very palatable about the real world, and you're like, all right, this is too restrictive. This perspective is too restrictive. What about the personal perspective? What about the feeling? And so he speaks from feeling. Believe what you want. I don't want to paint that. Shatter. So what do you want to paint? Right? And for the first time, Eri paints without looking at anything. He's looking at the idea of Cossette in his mind, and her beauty, and the smile that he's seen from her, and her warmth. And he's also gazing past her to this idea of art itself. Art leads to happiness. Art elevates humanity. Art is all of these things. And so I paint and I paint. That thing is not what I define art as. And to let someone else, some dead asshole, define for me what art means is to diminish myself and to diminish art. So for the sake of art, I will create art. Not for you, the ego of art, but for the sake of his own idea of what art can be to him. Yeah? So we're in and we're out and we're back. And all the paintings burn. But he's created something new, something beautiful, something warm, and a flock of butterflies goes free. And Shoko awakens. Everything should become one. And here he smiles, having done what he needed to do. Having switched the image of Cossette to his own. Having changed this world. We see each of them in darkness. And then her eyes open. As if she is reborn. As if the story continues. The core of the curse is broken. And it's become kind of a blessing. A blessing of beauty and of art. And a call to seek that. It speaks to those of us who seek to become artists, to create. And it speaks to us to ask why. Are we chasing someone else's idea of what beauty and art means? Is that why you're doing it? Or are you willing to reach in and pull your own heart out and squeeze it until it's the ink that you use to create something from you? Something visionary, something that's not meant for sale or for appeal or for imitation or for ego, like to put yourself amongst the realms of those who can, but to create something for the purpose of reaching into the void and pulling from the sea of nothing, grabbing it and pulling something out of it. Because that's what it is to me. Maybe that's not what it is to Ari, but that scene where he pulls the blood and he's using the blood and not looking at the references. He's going to the unknown and he's manifesting something into our reality. And that's like the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. In many, many places, in many ways. And when I do it myself, I'm awed by it. Is when you reach into nothing and you create something. When I'm building a world or creating a person for a story or a character for a D&D game or drawing something that doesn't exist. There's something true about reaching into the unknown. And it's scary too, because you're reaching into yourself. And we've captured all of that in images, all presented to us in a piece of work that itself strives to reach towards something unspoken and bring it into emergence. But not just through a painting or a picture, but through 3 30-plus minute, strongly, heavily, artistically interesting, wild visual experiences, audio-visual experiences, because let's not forget Kajiura in here. At like the layer of what's going on behind the scenes, at the layer of what's going on for the characters directly in the story, as the layer of the subtext, like metatext of what's going on inside the story, and as the layer of the actual medium itself, and as the layer of the art that's being done inside the story, this thing is all about creation. What it means, why we do it, why we care, how it changes us, how we get obsessed with things. And it is itself an obsession. A strange work that maybe no one will see. Maybe it'll end up in behind chains somewhere, but some people had the balls to reach into their own chests and rip this thing out. And I'm just so grateful that I want to do more of that for myself. utterly impressed by Akiyuki Shimbo and the whole staff that worked on Cossette no Shoujo. I'm grateful for its contribution to the world of animation, because it has, and to style, because it has. I'm grateful for these insights into who Shinbo was as a director before Monogatari, and I really want to watch more, like some Soul Taker or something like that. And all in all, I found this to be an incredibly fascinating, relevant to me and the things that I care about piece of art. Whether it is for the sake of art or for something much bigger, I don't know. But I really enjoyed it, and I think I'll be thinking about it for a long time. I am glad to use this as my way of getting back into doing Retro Monday OVAdrive. Because what an OVA, and what a way to color our future journeys into the artistic worlds of many different creators and many different worldviews and many different kinds of ideas. What better way than to start by a piece that talks about why we create in the first place and what those creations mean as people stumble across them and experience them and are forever changed. Because that's what we've just done here, is stumble across something, experience it, and to some degree find ourselves changed and our perspectives altered. I am grateful to this show for existing, and I'm really grateful to you for coming and watching along with. Thanks so much for joining me for these last couple episodes of Retro Monday OVAdrive, and I hope to catch you next time when we pick something else up, probably something pretty different, and give it a shot next time. Thank you so much. Check out the early access on the Patreon to support the channel. It's much appreciated. And I'll catch you in the next one. Much love. Thanks. I said thanks. What the fuck? That's not what I say. Thanks is true, but much love. Peace.